What's good, YouTube? Steph here, and welcome to Theta Space. This time I'm reviewing the second album by Japanese prog fusion masters Kenso. So, preparatory to reviewing the second Kenso album from 1982, I read Yoshihisa Shimizu's liner notes in the 2002 CD reissue on the Pathograph label. In 1980, he was still in dental college and feeling discouraged and disheartened, and he recorded the first album intending it as nothing more than a token of the last days of college. He'd been losing his dreams and enthusiasm for music, but making the record actually rekindled his artistic drive. For about a year and a half afterward, as he worked toward graduation and medical certification, he was also writing material for what would become Kenso 2. After Shimizu graduated in 1982, Kenso performed their first concert, and then he bought an 8-track tape recorder and went into the studio, which was actually just a room set aside for the Music Society at the college, and he recorded Kenso 2. This 20th anniversary CD release is in mini LP packaging. Those are always on the Japanese CDs, I'm not sure why. Mini LP packaging with a cardboard sleeve and inner envelope. I like the format in principle, but a jewel case CD tray makes for less friction on the disc's playing surface when you take it out or put it away. There's also a folded insert with liner notes by Shimizu, as well as by Tatsuro Ueda of Kenso International Affairs, and a track listing with titles in English and Romaji, Romaji being Japanese translated into the Western alphabet. The liner notes in Japanese on the reverse side here. And the track titles are in pure Japanese on the back cover. On this album, the band is Shimizu on guitar and keyboards, Atsushi Makiuchi on keyboards, Haruhiko Yamamoto on drums, and Shiro Yajima on flute. This would be Yajima's last appearance on a Kenso album. I wish he'd stayed longer. I love flute in rock and jazz music, and he's very good at playing it. There's also additional personnel of Masayuki Tanaka on woodwind, Sachiko Miyashita on vocals, and Naoko Shimagaito on vocals. So the opening track is Shining in the Sky, or Sora ni Hikaru. It's a great number that would be a fixture of live sets for years to come. I've got 2 live albums. I've got Ken Songs and In the West, plus the live concert DVD Hareki. And I've heard 1 more live album, Music for Unknown 5 Musicians, and this song is on all of them. It's followed on this album by Masui Parts 1 and 2, or Anesthesia in English. Part 1 is acoustic guitar and some kind of tuned percussion. Sounds kind of like a marimba. And as far as I can tell, it can only be heard on this record. Part 2, though, is another live favorite. Picks up the rhythmic figure that Part 1 ends with, and it goes into a fusion jam similar to Sora ni Hikaru. Next up is Hyoto, Frozen Island. This is a slow, calm piece carried by the piano, with some of the album's most beautiful melodic lines on the flute and synthesizers. That's followed by Burando Shiko, which is translated as Brand IX, which I'm sure is a reference to the fusion band Brand X, and a pun on X being Roman 10 and IX being 9. What I don't understand is why the 2 kanji spelling Shiko mean finger or point, and face toward or opposite or beyond. My best guess for the meaning of the word is pointing beyond. Whatever the meaning of the title, the track is another fast, high-energy fusion jam like Shining in the Sky and Anesthesia Part 2. It's the most fusion-y track of the album, and the flutist Sori Yajima actually sits this one out. It's just guitar, synths, bass, and drums. The next 2 tracks change the pace again. Harukanaru Chie, Toward the Land Beyond. It's a much simpler composition. It's almost a single chord vamp, except for the main melody early in the piece, which is played on a synthesizer. And after the short melody, the band just vamps on the 1 chord, and there's singing voices that sound like they're on a tape that's playing in reverse. For all I know, that's exactly what it is. Naibu e no Tsukikage, Moon Casting Shadows Within, is just a synthesizer playing long, slow notes, and it's joined shortly by a female-sounding voice singing a vocalise along with the synth melody. The album closes with 1 more fast fusion-y prog jam, Sayonara Progore, usually called Arrivederci or Goodbye Prog. Yajime's back playing the main melody on flute and also taking a solo. Shimizu on guitar and Mike Iuchi on keyboards also take solos, and this is another track that frequently appears in the band's live sets. The CD reissue that I have includes 2 bonus live tracks. There's a cover of PFM's 4 Holes in the Ground and Kenso's own Power of the Glory, which as a studio track was first recorded on the next album, Kenso 3. They're both very good. Overall, this is a great album. Only tracks 6 and 7 don't really do much for me. Plus, Anesthesia Part 1 is pretty disposable. You really only need Part 2, as the band demonstrates whenever they played it live. But the rest of the record is excellent. On a 10 scale, I give it a 7, knocking a few points off for the weaker tracks. If you know this album, what do you think? Does anyone actually like Moon Casting Shadows Within, or think that the band should have played the complete Anesthesia in concert? Let me know in the comments. Also, please smash like if you up and hit subscribe and the notification bell. They don't cost anything. I'll be back Saturday with a reaction and next week with something else. Steph out. Peace.